All right, I ended that last video by saying I was going to show you how to use some troubleshooting tools so that we could actually watch the loop run in our code. So I have the future value calculator. I have the code still open here. I am going to be in my browser. I'm going to hit F12 to open the developer tools. Now, it may not open with these. Let me close. I want to reopen it. Open in default browser. Okay, for mine it's opening up instantly on the right page. If it opens up in a different tab up here, you make sure you click the sources tab and you'll see your files over here on the left side. And I'm most interested not in my CSS file, but my JavaScript file. So futurevalue.js. Let's expand this over here to the left. So this is the code from inside the browser for our JavaScript. And we have the ability in here to set breakpoints. So what I can do, actually I'm going to set a breakpoint right here on the very first line so that we can follow this code through as the application runs. And I'm going to go over here, I'm going to refresh the screen, and instantly we get a highlight on this line. So this breakpoint caused the code execution to pause so that I can come in here and look at things. Now, I have this variable, all these variables. We talk about hoisting. Future value, investment, rate, and years are all variables that are going to be used in here. And JavaScript already knows about them because it goes through and looks for them before it ever runs. Okay? So it knows these variables are coming up. But right now, investment equals 0. This is what we're looking at. But if I look over here at investment, it still says undefined. That's because this line hasn't ran yet. It's not going to run until I say OK. And to do that, I'm going to use this little button right up here. It's called Step Over Next Function Call. And we want to go through our code line by line, but we don't want to go out if it calls some other code somewhere. We don't want to follow that. So we're going to use the Step Over button. And now that line has ran. If I hover over the variable investment, I see a little pop-up right here that says 0. It shows me the value of investment. And I can look over here that shows me that investment has been initialized to 0, which happened up in this line. Okay. But now we're going to ask the user, when this next line runs, it's going to ask us, it's going to do the prompt. So I'll go ahead and click that, and there's the prompt. It ran that line. I'm just going to take the value 10,000, so I'm going to click OK. And if I look over here, investment is now set to $10,000. That line ran. So we can step through our code one line at a time to see what's happening. Now, the important thing to remember about this for troubleshooting is that you have to know what you're expecting. When I click next on this while loop, I am expecting that $10,000 is a number, so it shouldn't repeat my do loop. I expect that it should go down to this next line. And if it doesn't, then I know I did something wrong. So let me go ahead and do it. Great. Investment was a number. It worked just fine. Now we're going to do the same thing with rate. So I'm going to click. Here we get the prompt. So we're down to that line. Let me type the letter X, which is not a number. Now, we parsed. We tried to parse as a float the number that the user typed in at the prompt. And look what came up. It didn't come up a number. It came up as not a number. And because rate is not a number, this loop is going to repeat. So let's watch. This is the next line that's going to run. And I expect, because it's not a number, that it should come back up and run the loop again. And it did. It went right back up here, and it's going to prompt me again for the interest rate. And it will keep doing that until I put in a valid value. I'm going to put in 7.5, and we see rate got set to 7.5. Let's go on and move through. I'm going to step through There, we're going to come down through this next prompt, which is the same thing. Prompt, check it. If it's not a number, repeat, but I put 10, so it is. All right. And then finally we get to our loop. So right now in our block, we have an I here, and here's the value of I. It's undefined because this hasn't actually ran yet. So I'm going to click. And now we can see that I is set to 1, and we're going to do our test. So this line is still highlighted because we initialized the variable, and now we're doing the test. So I'll hit next, and now we can see I is 1. We set the future value equal to the investment, and now the next thing it's going to do is calculate the interest and add it on the future value. So future value is 10,000. I'm going to do the calculation, and now you see that the future value is up to 10,750 because we made 7.5% interest the first year. But if you notice, after it got done, it moved up here to the for loop. I is still equal to 1, but this I++ is going to happen next. Now it's going to check the test to make sure that I is less than the number of years. And 2, since we're going up to years is 10, the loop's going to keep executing, and we can watch. I is up to 3, and I'm just clicking the button to continue executing these lines of code. And I am tracing through, and I is up to 6. I'm going to do a little bit faster. 7. There, I is up to 8. There's 9. There's 10. So this loop, this code is running 10 times. And ultimately, I becomes 11. This test, 11 is not less than the number of years, which is 10. So the loop should end this time. And I would expect it's going to come down here to our document right. And it does. And each of those lines as I executed them got written to the web page. And our script is complete. So that's a way you can actually see your code and test it. I'm not too concerned about being real good at testing yet. We'll get to more of that in chapter 5, but I did want to show you that you can actually watch your code execute those loops, and you can test them line by line.